Steam Next Fest is right around the corner, and baby, I can't wait. Now, if you're new here, you might be asking, Danny, what is Steam Next Fest? Well, I'm glad you asked. Steam Next Fest is an event that takes place right on your computer, where you can download and play hundreds of indie demos. So for an indie gaming junkie like myself, it's like my own personal Christmas. Now, I used to say that exact same thing for E3, but yeah, we know how that went. Now, Steam Next Fest doesn't officially start until next week on June 10th, but Santa may have swung by my place a little bit early this year. So the team over at PopAgenda reached out and offered me the chance to play a few of their upcoming Steam Next Fest demos ahead of time. And I'm going to quickly tell you about all 3 of them. But before we get started, please do me a favor and like the video, or else I hear Steam Santa, aka Gabe Newell, is going to put a big old chunk of coal in your Steam library. Now, I don't really know what that means, but I don't think a lump of black dirt inside of your computer is going to be good for your GPU, so I just clicked the button personally. Now, with that said and done, let me tell you what I've been playing this week. First up, we've got Mexico 1921, A Deep Slumber, an emotional and thoughtful narrative adventure set in a post-revolutionary Mexico City, developed by Makula Interactive. Before we go any further, this one's actually already available to play on Steam, so I didn't actually receive this one as a personalized key, and if you want to check it out for yourself, it's available right now. You'll play as Juan Aguirre, a young photojournalist navigating through a country awakening from years of revolutionary conflict. The game delves into the life and political landscape of Mexico during this transformative period. Now, let me be clear. History, never my strong suit. So I genuinely have no clue what's going on in this world at this point in the game. So if you want a history lesson today, I'm the wrong guy to ask. Sorry. But I can certainly tell you about my experience with the gameplay. You start out the demo playing as this rough and gruff detective trying to solve a crime, before you get teleported back in time as Juan himself. In the main mission of this demo, you're exploring a local marketplace in Mexico as there's a giant riot taking place. The gameplay of Mexico 1921 is fairly simple. It's basically just walking around and talking to people.
Kid, don't take that chicken. Kid, don't take that chicken.
Seeing what they have to say about politics, how they feel about the president, what's going on in their neighborhood, and a bunch of other hot gossip. Now, some people aren't so willing to share with you. So in cases like that, it's time to get sneaky. You have this Batman-esque detective vision called Nosy Mode, where you can listen in on people's private conversations, where you'll be getting more details than they were willing to share with you before. Just make sure you're stealthy about it, because staring them dead in the face isn't the best way to go unnoticed. The Nosy Mode comes with a cooldown on it, so you can use it for 10 seconds, then let it recharge, and then go back in again. Or you could be like me and break the game where Nosy Mode won't actually turn off. But I also can't interact with any of my tools to end it, so I'm just stuck in this black and white filter on a walking simulator. Now, you can fix this by simply walking over to your buddy Archivero and talking to him. It'll just shut the whole thing down. So no real harm done, but I gotta assume that wasn't supposed to happen. Now don't forget, Juan is a photojournalist, so what would this game be without a photo mode? And honestly, I would play a full game of just this mechanic alone. When you discover an item that you'll find helpful for the investigation, you'll pull out your trusty camera and start to adjust all the settings to get the perfect picture, or the closest thing you can get. This mechanic was just really cool to me. It took some getting used to, but if the team's next game is solely the camera minigame, I'm so in. The demo altogether took me about maybe an hour and a half to complete. And I think all things considered, I didn't love the game, but I didn't hate it either. Mexico 1921 is doing some awesome things culturally. As well as having unique visual style and detective-like gameplay, I think this game will find itself an audience of people who will enjoy it. Personally, I might just wait for a summer sale or something down the line before I check it out again. Currently, we don't have a concrete release date for this game, just to be announced. But if you want to keep up to date on release info, you can just wishlist the game on Steam. Next up, we've got Arranger, a role puzzling adventure. So we first saw this game at the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase earlier this year, and I instantly fell in love looking at the gameplay. As Gemma, a small town misfit just trying to find themselves, you'll set out to venture beyond your cozy town into an inspiring new world. So the main mechanic of Arranger is that the tiled floor moves along with you. We've seen a bunch of other puzzle games use a similar traversal style, like How to Say Goodbye. But in Arranger, the consequences of you moving the world around you are important to note. Very early into the demo, you'll accidentally cause someone to fall off of a ladder because you move the ground underneath their feet. Now, I will say this individual seems to have some deep-seated issues outside of us knocking them to the ground, but that's for them to solve on their own. However, this small comedic situation sets you up to learn that you've got to be careful when you move things around, or you might make this puzzle a lot harder for yourself. As you move these tiles to get around, you'll move random flower pots, paint cans, or cats with jingly collars all over the place. Sometimes those moves are truly inconsequential. It won't really matter what happens to them. But other times you're going to have to bring those items with you to solve future puzzles. For example, one of the earlier rooms has a button that you have to hold so you can open up a path to move to the next room. Now at first I thought I just wasn't ready to go this way and I needed some kind of upgrade. So then later realized I could just bring one of those flower pots with me so I can hold the button and then move forward. Now just be sure to watch your step when you place that flower pot, because if you just walk backwards, you'll move the pot with you, thus releasing the button once again. From time to time, you'll have to pull some Tetris T-spin level maneuvers so that you don't screw up your own puzzle. The further into the game you go, the more complex the puzzles get. because, you know, that's how video games work. You'll eventually have to break the space-time continuum and teleport from one side of the puzzle to the other using some strange traversal tactics. And sometimes those paths are blocked by immovable objects or some dumb bully kid who keeps kicking you away from the path. Quick tip for the kids, if someone's actually doing this to you in real life, just go get your parents. It's a lot easier. Because you definitely don't want to take the time to drag a sharp-ass sword across the map and try and slay that kid, because that is both illegal and disproportionate punishment. You could just save that sword for the nasty little monsters that are blocking your path out of town. Though you move in the world with every step you take is pretty inconvenient for your neighborhood, they all seem to love and care for you. Well, except for the latter chick. As you talk to each character, pick up quests, and ask for hints, you'll get the feeling of a quaint small town experience where everybody knows each other, for better or for worse. Even as the demo wraps up, there's this wholesome, take care of yourself kid, we'll be here waiting for you type moment that I really enjoyed. And after completing this demo, I am confident that Arranger is shaping out to be a dope puzzle adventure. It's not too easy, but it's also not insanely difficult. Well, unless you move an item across town and have to bring it all the way back somehow, but that's more of a skill issue at this point. Arranger's scheduled to release sometime later this year on PC for both Steam and Epic Games Store, but you can also expect a Nintendo Switch and PlayStation release as well. Now for the last demo I got to play, and easily my favorite of the bunch, this is Thank Goodness You're Here. Thank Goodness You're Here is this absurd, over-the-top, goofy slapformer. Yep, that's what the devs call it, and it's fitting. Because I was slapping people like a madman during this playthrough.
So slick. I don't want to say wet. I don't think wet's the right word.
In this bizarre northern English town of Barnsworth, you play as this funky little traveling salesman who doesn't seem to have a single thought in his head, but he is out here doing way too much, and we love it. While trying to get into an important meeting with the mayor, you end up arriving a bit too early. So instead of waiting, you just explore. Start talking to people and helping them with their predicaments, whether that be intentional or not. From my time with Thank Goodness You're Here, I've discovered the game is just downright hilarious. From spontaneous and aggressive clumsiness to out of left field strange events that in reality would never work. But this little dude is maybe a foot tall on a good day. So our hero is getting into some insane shenanigans. As a man with very simple taste in comedy, this game hit all the right notes where I needed them to. As you wander into town and stumble into folks who need your help, small minigames will kick in as you take care of the tasks that you're requested to help with. The first major one I ran into was someone who needed me to mow their lawn. And as these pretty little flowers were confessing their love for one another, I may have just decided to put my full focus into completing the job at hand, not letting anyone get in my way. Some of the events that you run into can't be completed right away, so you need to find another person around town who can actually help them with the problem. But of course, you'll have to help that new person with their problem first. So you can see sometimes these problems are going to stack up. My gut says I want to call this game witty, but I feel like that implies that the characters have some level of intelligence. Whereas the writing in Thank Goodness You're Here is all chaos and stupidity, obviously in the best way possible. No, I'm not entirely sure if I streamlined my experience and just accidentally golden pathed this demo, but I probably completed about 20 to 30 minutes. I've always said the best compliment that I can give a demo is when I feel that ending slowly creeping up, getting that small panic in the pit of my stomach, seeing the thank you for playing screen, and crying to myself that I can't play more of the game right now. Thank Goodness You're Here is simple, it's charming, it's goofy, and it's a game that I can't wait to play more of. And hopefully I don't have to wait too much longer, because the game is still scheduled to release here in 2024 on PC, Switch, and PlayStation 5. And I'm smelling a fun platinum trophy in my future. And there you have it, just 3 of the demos from Steam Next Fest that I got to check out a bit early. I just want to give a huge shout out to PopAgenda for hooking me up ahead of time. They have been nothing but amazing to me this past year, setting up with keys for so many of the games that we've done for review or streamed over on Twitch. And they also got me this cool little toy that I'm still playing around with, but I will be covering soon right here on the channel. Be sure to let me know in the comments which of these games that you're most excited to check out. And again, be sure to go wishlist them on Steam so you can get info on when they release. And lastly, if you're looking for some more Steam Next Fest coverage, be sure to stick around because we're talking podcasts, we're talking live streams on Twitch, probably some short form previews, all sorts of different stuff. And all that starts on June 10th, so just a few days away. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that indie gaming goodness. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.